Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to dive deep into a critical concept in data warehousing, SCD, that is slowly changing dimension. And in this video, we are specifically going to concentrate on SCD2 or Type 2 in IICS. My name is Rigrom. I create tutorials on data engineering, ETL process, and all things related to data warehouse. In data warehousing, one of the biggest challenges we face is how to manage changes in dimension data over time. For instance, when a customer moves to new address or new phone number, how do we capture this historical information while still maintaining a current records? This is where slowly changing dimension come into play. SCD allow us to track these changes systematically, ensuring that our data warehouse reflect both current and historical data. Introduction to SCD types. There are several type of SCDs, and the most commonly used SCD is SCD type 1, SCD type 2, and SCD type 3. In SCD type 1, where we will be overwriting the historical changes. We won't keep any changes in the SCD in the final table. When there is a change, we will just overwrite the existing records and we won't keep any historical changes. In SCD2, we won't overwrite the records. Instead, we will insert that into a new record and the old record will still remain same. Whereas in SCD type 3, we will be capturing the most recent changes in the final table. And we will be not maintaining all the historical changes, but we will just maintain only the most recent changes. So what exactly is SCD2? Slowly changing dimension type 2 is a method used in data warehousing to manage and track historical changes in dimension data. Unlike SCD1, where the old data is overwritten, SCD2 allows us to maintain a complete history of changes. For example, we have a customer table. Each row represents a customer's details. With SCD2, if a customer changes their address, instead of updating the existing record, a new record is created with the updated information and old record is preserved as history. There are four key attributes in SCD type 2. One is surrogate key, another one is effective date, end date, and current flag. Surrogate key. This is a unique identifier for each record in the dimension table, unlike the natural key, which could be something like a customer ID. The surrogate key is system generated and helps in uniquely identifying each version of a record. Effective date. This indicates when the record becomes effective or valid. For example, we can ask when the customer's address was changed. End date. This marks the end of the record's validity, essentially when the next changes occurred. For the current record, this could be set to be higher value like 2099 to indicate it is still active. Current flag. This is Boolean or indicator field that shows whether a record is current version or a historical one. Let us see a demo for SCD2 in IICS. For this demo, I'm not going to create any mapping or mapping task. Instead, I'm going to use a template which was already created by Informatica team. So for that, I'm just going to click on new, and under task, we have something called warehousing. Here we will be able to find the template that Informatica created. So slowly changing dimension type 2. So we are just going to create that. So first let me show you what all are the tables that we are going to use. There will be two tables. One will be the source. It will just have the customer information, and another table will be the SCD2 table where I'm going to capture the historical changes. I am going to use the Google BigQuery as a database. Here I am going to create all the necessary tables. So when we are using this template, Informatica's SCD2 template mapping or mapping task, we want to make sure we are including these four columns in the table, in the SCD2 table. So this ID will be the surrogate key, and we want to include these four columns as well. CRC underscore number, then current flag, valid from, and valid to. So the column name should be changed. That's what the Informatica documentation says. So this CRC is the CRC number is the cyclic redundancy check number. This is used to detect the changes. So this is something completely handled by the template mapping that we are going to create. So let me create these two tables first in the BigQuery. So I have a schema called raw. So here I'm going to create this src underscore customer and dim customer SCD2. Let me create these two tables. Also, we can just insert few records into the table. So I'm going to insert three records. Yes. So let's make sure whether the records got inserted. So let me go to the SRC customer table. And when we preview, we will be able to see the three records that we inserted. So let me go to this template, and I'm going to rename this mapping task as empty underscore. So I'm going to create this particular mapping for customer table. So I'm going to name it as empty uh, customer underscore, and this is going to be an SCD2 type mapping task. So I'm going to name it as SCD2 underscore job. And we want to choose the runtime environment. I'm going to use Informatica Cloud Hosted Agent. And here we want to rename the mapping. So I'm just going to remove the T from the mapping task job name. And it will be in the YouTube project folder. So you can also see this is how the mapping look like. So we are not going to create anything. We are just going to configure the source, target, input parameter, and persistent values. So let me click on next. So here we want to select the source. So for us, the source table will be the source customer. So let me choose the connection first. It is Regu. BigQuery is the connection, and the object will be under raw src underscore customer is the source. So this we have successfully configured the source. There is another thing that we want to configure is the slowly changing dimension. So we have also created the slowly changing dimension, that is dim customer SCD2. So let me show you, like this is what we recently created and there is no records in it. So let me select the connection. It is the Go BigQuery, and the slowly changing dimension table is under raw and dim customer SCD2. So another thing we want to do here is, like, we want to apply a filter. So the filter, under filters, we want to add a filter. We don't, like, when it try to fetch the data from this table, we don't want the records which are not active. We want only the record which are active. So I'm going to apply a filter here. So the field will be, I have this current flag. So the current flag equal to y. So when the current flag is N, it indicates the record is not active. When the current flag is Y, it indicates the record is active. So, so that what, so these are the two changes, like we want to select the source and we want to select the slowly changing dimension. So we have configured the source. Let's click on next. Now we want to configure the target. So the first one is TGT dim EX insert. That means like if the record already exists, then we want to insert, like if there is any change, then we want to insert a new record, right? So this, in this particular configuration, we don't want to do much things here. We just want to select the connection and the appropriate table. So it will be the SCD2 table, SCD2. And as you can see, the operation, it already came, like it should be insert, because uh, we are not going to update the existing record. It's a change, so we want to insert a new record. So we have configured that. Now we want to configure the like there is an existing record. Now we want to update the flag and the end date for that. So for that, we want to select the table here. So again, it will be the SCD2 table, raw and dim customer SCD2. So it will be an update, because we want to update the status flag and the end date. And another thing we want to do in this update is we want to provide the update column, on what basis we are going to update. So we want to select the surrogate key, that is the ID in SCD2 table. So I'm just going to select this. Now we have configured the uh, update. Now it's completely a new record. In that case, we just want to insert it. So again, it will be the SCD2. I'm just going to select the SCD2. So this will be just insert. We don't want to make any changes in the target. So where we made the changes only to update the status flag and to update the end date, we just gave the update column. So that's what we did here. Now let's go to the next one, that is input parameters. So this will be the main part. Yep. So source primary key. Here we want to select the primary key from the SCD2 table. So it will be the customer ID. Let's validate it. Then we want to select the slowly changing dimension surrogate key. So it will be the ID that we created. So it will just rename it, like it will add a prefix DM underscore underscore. So we don't want to worry about that. We can just select this ID, because this will be the surrogate key in the SAD2 table. Then slowly changing dimension natural key. So natural key, again, it won't be the surrogate key, it will be the customer ID, which is coming from the source. So again, we don't want these things. Let's validate. And we have configured the natural key. Now we want to provide, like on what basis we want to capture the change. For example, in customer table, this is the source. So in customer table, whenever the customer name changes, we want to capture. Whenever the customer address got changed, then we want to capture. And whenever there is a order ID got changed, again we want to capture. So what I will do is I will add the customer ID, then we want to add two pipes, then customer name, again two pipes, then address, two pipes, finally the order ID. So let's validate. Okay, it's valid. Now we want to configure, like we want to map the columns. Again, here we are not going to do much things. Let's see. So this is for the target field map for existing records. We are not going to update, we are just going to insert a new record. So here, okay, so this is to update the record. So yeah, here we just want to map this dim infra key here. So that's all, like we don't want to make any other changes because, okay, so this is just to update the records. Uh, like we are just going to update the status flag and the valid to date. So this is something, this will be the surrogate key. So we just want to just map that. So that's all. Then this is to insert a new record, completely new record. Again, most of the things will be mapped automatically. So here the ID, we have something called next val. So we just want to map it here. So that's all, like rest of the things will be mapped automatically. Then if, okay, the record is already there. We have already updated here. So here we want to insert that as a new record. So again, all the things will be mapped automatically. We just want to map this next value here because we are creating a new record and the surrogate key should be the next value. So we have successfully configured everything. So let's click on next. So here we have this persistent values. So we have the next value, right? So this is how the next value is getting generated. So we have the sequence generator in the mapping. So it will start with 1 and the current value is 1. So we are good with here. Let's click on next and just save it. So it became valid. Now let's make sure there is nothing in the SCD2 table. So let's refresh the table. So there is no records, and let's see what all records are there in the SRC customer. So in SRC customer, we have 3 records that we already inserted. So let's trigger the mapping. So if you see, the mapping got already created. So this is how the mapping looks like. We did nothing. We just used the mapping task template. Using that, we have configured everything from the mapping task. So we don't want to do anything from the mapping. Now we want to trigger the mapping task. So I'm going to run the mapping task. So it's currently running. The job started. So from source, like we have three records. So it fetched the 3 records. And so as you can see, the TGT dim new insert. So these 3 columns are new because these 3 are not there in the SCD2 table. So what it did is it just inserted 3 records into the SCD2 table. So let's go to the SCD2 and just we can preview the data from there. Let's see what is there. So you can see it just inserted the 3 records. Also, the status flag is Y and valid from is 1900 and valid to is 2099. So now we are not going to insert any new records. What we are going to test is when we rerun the job, whether it will insert the records again. Like we have three records in the source, whether it will insert those three records into the target. So this is what we are going to verify. So now we didn't inserted any new records, but we are going to rerun the job again. So we have triggered the job. Yep, the job got completed successfully, and you can see it didn't even inserted anything into the target. It fetched three records from the source. Also, it fetched three records from the SRC dimension. So, if you remember in the source, we have something called SRC dim. Here, we applied a filter called uh, current flag equal to Y. So, it fetched only those three records because those three records had Y, and those three records, like there is no change, so it didn't inserted anything. Let's verify from here. Let's refresh the SCD2 table, and we are not seeing any changes. Now what we are going to do is we are going to insert two more records into the target in the source, sorry. uh, so I'm just going to insert these two records, 104 and 105, and I'm going to insert in the SRC customer. So let's go to the SRC customer and preview the data. And you can see we have 101, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And also, let's verify the SCD2. So here we don't have the latest change, those three records, and also those three are new records. So we don't have that in the SCD2. Now let's go here and rerun the job. So the job started. Yeah, the job got completed successfully. And you can see it fetched five records from the source, and it fetched three records from the SCD2 table, and it inserted only the two records that we inserted earlier. So let's go here. So now we can see only 10123. Let's refresh the table. Now you can see the 104 and 105 got inserted, and the status flag is Y, and we are able to see the valid from and valid to. Now what we are going to do is we are going to make a new change. So we are going to update 102 in the source. So we are going to update the customer address for customer 102, and so the modified data is like 31. Yep. So let's verify it from the customer table. So for 102, as you can see, like previously it was 30 when we created. The created data is 30, but the modified data is 31. Now, what we are going to do is this particular change, like for 102, if you see the address 999 Apple Street. So if you see here for 102, the address will be different. Let's go here and trigger the mapping task again. Okay, so it got completed. Let's see what happened. So you can see here the dim customer, that is, uh, we inserted a new record. We inserted a new record. Also, we updated the existing record. Let us see from here what happened. So this is the SCD2 table. I'm just going to refresh it. For 1002, we have the old record, that is, this is the old record. So you can see the status flag is no, because the current flag is no, because this is the historical change, and we have a new record which has the latest change. Also, if you see the valid from and valid to, the old record was valid till 2024-09-02, and the new record is active from 2024-09-02. So this is how we can implement SCD2 in Informatica in easiest way, without worrying about the mapping. Like the mapping will be created automatically, like when we use this template mapping task. So this is how like we can do it. If you find this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more tutorial like this. Thank you for watching.